Okay, so last time we looked at this piece, which we referred to as the stump. We made some changes here that changed the shape. I'm getting back to it and I'm kind of liking it. We kind of hardened off this edge right here, and we're going to soften that some. Not sure how much, but some. It gives it a little bit of character, but it also kind of shows, that it's been worked on. Tool marks, which these scars show tool marks. Yeah, character is one thing. Tool marks is a whole different thing. So, in your piece of art, in your piece of sculpture, you're going to want character, but you don't want tool marks. In paintings, they talk about brush strokes and those sorts of things, and that's part of the art. But I don't think in sculpture, tool marks are part of the art. So we have to remove those. And as you can see, maybe you can't see, maybe you can, down in that hole, it's fuzzy. And the top here has some tool marks that we need to get rid of. And it's, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see, it's very fuzzy in here. And that's part of working with this wood, this cypress wood, is that it is fuzzy. But also part of being free is, you just deal with what you deal with. Okay. We've got to maybe finish up our piece today. Shouldn't be too bad. We're going to clean up the inside of the knot holes. We're going to remove the tool marks that you can see just about everywhere. There's when you use an aggressive bit, you're going to leave tool marks, and some of it can be taken off with sandpaper, but then the sandpaper takes off some of your character as well. So there's got to be a different way that you can do that, and that different way is going to be the grinder bits that come with your, well, whatever kit that you have. Usually it has grinder bits in it. And these, while they will clog up if you're not careful, they do work very well with wood as well. So that's what we're going to do. You'll have to forgive my fingers. I came out of the garden. I've been working on my winter garden. I've got my kale almost edible. I've got some onions just starting, just green onions. And I've got, come on now, there we go. Boop. As I was saying, I have some green peppers, probably about a dozen still on the plants. We do not have a freeze coming anytime soon. It's coming up on Thanksgiving Day after tomorrow. But like I said, I've got a little bit of dirt and I apologize. I've just been in the garden. So here we go. Let's see what we can do with this grinding bit. Oh yeah, works out real nice. It doesn't make it perfectly smooth, but that's okay. That's okay. Because not everybody's going to stick their head down in there to make sure it's all perfectly smooth. Oh yeah, way better. Okay, do the same in this knot hole. Cleans it out very nicely. Oh yes, I feel much better about that. Alright, so we're going to take this hard edge off of this right here. just enough where it doesn't look like there's been a tool on it. It's been sculptured. We want it to look like that's how the tree's been growing all along. Yeah, we'll have to sand that. I think I have one that'll fit down in there. Yeah, there's another one. Let's give it a try. My air cleaner is actually one of those floor drying fans, like if your carpet got wet. They brought in one of those weird shaped fans that just blow on the floor. It's one of those. I built a box for it, and I use 24 by 24 air filters. I'll show you a picture here. I'm turning it around for just a second. Excuse the jerkiness. All right, so there we go. There's the filter part of it. Let me flip this around so I can see what I'm looking at. Oh, can't see nothing. Wow, you really can't see anything at all. Anyways, that's the filter part. It's got slots for 3 filters. So depending upon what I'm working on, I can put in 3 filters and really filter out the air. I've kind of blocked off sections of it so that I can get a higher pressure coming from right there, which is where I'm filming, so that's where I'm filming and working. And I've got that right next to me to clean the air. You make a lot of dust when you're doing this sort of thing. I was changing a bit. I was changing from the pointy bit to this pointy bit, and this will obviously fit in way better. I got it from my cribbage board peg holder where I was skunked by my brother, but it was a moral victory. I'll turn this back on. All right, so it fits just fine. How nice. Nope. I'm going to go ahead and make some 600 grit. In case you're wondering, I left the drill in the wife's vehicle when I added the new license plate the other day. Alright, so now we've got 600 grit paper on there, which will give us a very smooth finish and will probably help us remove tool marks without taking off too much of our intended character of our piece. Here we go. Ooh, that's a fine powder coming off of there. Okay, so we removed some of our tool marks. Takes a little bit longer, just need to have a little patience. I'll go ahead and patience my way through this part. And if you're not careful, you will burn it. And then you have to sand off your burning. All right, we're gonna We're going to back up just a little bit on the grits. And we'll do what do I got? I got a 320 and I got a 400. Let's go back to 320. I think I've got some 320 in here somewhere. Yeah, that's 320. Just need to finish screwing it together. We'll do that. And here we go. Sometimes you have to keep spinning the piece in your hands so that you can see different pieces and look at different pieces at different points and see where all your imperfections are. And try to make the distinction between imperfection and happy accident. Sometimes that's kind of hard. Yeah, I really shredded the edges of that thing up, didn't I? But it was still working. It worked very well. Now, standalone piece. Would this stand alone as a work of art? I'm sure your mom would probably love it. She'd have no idea what to do with it, but she'd love it. Because, visually it's an okay piece. But it's rather small. And it would just be something that you could sit on your desk somewhere. But you've got to finish it. And what do I mean by finish it? Well, by finish it, I mean you have to either paint it or just simply put some kind of varnish or polyurethane or something on it. And while I like polyurethane as much as the next person, you have to understand what it's going to look like when you do that. So what we'll do real quick is we'll take a different piece of that same cypress. Whew. Phew. Knock it off your gigantic belly. And we'll let the air cleaner do its work while I reach around and grab Oil-based polyurethane. It's just a spray. You gotta make sure you shake it up a lot. We're gonna spray it on there. We're gonna move our other pieces out of the way so we don't get overspray on them, because we just got done sanding the good ones and we don't want to sand anymore. Okay, so that's wet, obviously, but when it dries, it looks wet. So if you see what this looks like wet, it does darken it up some, obviously, but it doesn't, I don't think it does the piece justice. I think we'd have to paint it or stain it. And we'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, it smells a little bit like polyurethane in here, but that's okay. All right, so all right, so we've got our piece. We're pretty much finished with it. We've got to tack cloth it, which we'll do here in just a second before we paint it. But, you know, now we've tested what polyurethane looks like on cedar. Sorry, it's not cedar, it's cypress. Let's see what paint looks like on cypress. First, we're going to sand off a section real quick here. Yeah, we'll sand off that section. You might have seen the last of that particular piece. But that's why you make them yourself. Yes, even those tear apart easily enough, but they cost me half of what one of the store-bought pre-made ones would. So, and it's expensive. It's just plain expensive. All right. All right, let me go grab some paint. You want it to either be a standalone piece or part of another, what's normally called a composition. So if you've got a composition that you want to create, like, you know, this is, hold on a sec. While we're talking about Harbor Freight, we'll use one of the measuring tapes. This is, what, 5 inches tall? And, hey, I got a bee. Get out of here. Good job. And wide, at its widest part, it's 2.5-ish inches. So if I wanted to make it part of another art piece, could I add things to it? Sure, I could probably carve a teeny tiny mouse and put him in that hole, or carve an owl that was 1.5 inches high and put him on the top, and, you know, make him look down at the mouse, or whatever composition it is you're planning on making. But you could also make it part of a woodworking piece. I made, not too long ago, a monitor stand for my computer at work, and I made the legs out of stumps, and I had to cut a spot in the back that would fit, and the stump kind of came around the piece of wood, and so now I had the 4 legs that were made out of stumps. Now, were they this nice? No. I didn't have my aggressive burrs at that point. Those aggressive burrs really have made a difference in this piece and my other pieces since. And they're really important. And if you're going to carve, you have to get something like that. It's very important that you do that. But this piece would look great as a leg, you know. Would you do it to the side so you could have both knot holes? But you would think you'd probably do it that way, and you know, you'd make 4 legs, and your little laptop could fit underneath there. Your monitors would fit up here on top, and that way you make a little space on your desk, and you have a wonderful conversation piece for your desk, whether it's at home and you're just your schoolwork or you're at actual work. It's still a neat piece that probably no one else really will ever have. And then, of course, everybody in the world will ask you to make them one. But my point in all of this could be part of another composition. So, yeah, well, who's going to make just a little old stump? And, you know, that's great. But if you're a beginning carver, this is a great project. You know, making something like this. It's a really great project. And once you advance a little bit, you know, maybe you can use it in making some kind of, you know, monitor stand, table. I mean, you name it. You can make anything you want with it. But that's why we do something small with this. One, to help increase our skill level, and two, to understand a completed piece. You could always look back and say, I painted that one piece and I never should have. Maybe I should have stained it. And, you know, be honest with you, I might stain this, get some walnut stain and make it nice and dark. And maybe that's how it works out. And so we'll take a look at that later. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. And if you got any questions, ask them. I'll answer them as I can. Thanks.